welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go for a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy this episode. We'll be looking at the WoW remix Mists of Pandaria, as well as finishing off at that forum post about World PvP, or not World PvP, but PvP in general, and kind of they wrapped it all up in one big forum post, which I think is personally really good. We're going to see if we can complete that as well today. But as always, we start off with the weekly news, and that is Struenran, Zakali Elders, and Aerostar are your weekly world bosses, located in Onaran Plains, Zaralak Caverns, and Emerald Dream. Arena skirmishes are your bonus event for this week. This means that completing arena skirmishes, you get more honour for finishing these, whether winning or losing. So it is a nice way to earn honour and potentially some gold if that's how you want to earn your gold through that method. Temple of Hot Mogu is your brawl for this week. This is simply Temple of Hot Mogu, but everything's amped up. So speed, haste, everything is just 10 times quicker. Not 10 times quicker. No, about 10 times quicker. So, you know, go into this thinking that the games will not be long at all and they will actually be very fast and very quick game modes. Entangling, Bursting, and Tyrannical are your mythic affixes for this week. Entangling, if you stand still, roots will simply sprout out from underneath you, slowing you, rooting you. So keep moving every now and again. Bursting, when a mob dies, it releases a debuff on you. You want to essentially kill everything at the same time and master spell or pop defensives for these debuffs. Or you want to kill half of the pack and then wait and kill the other half of the pack afterwards, therefore letting the debuff drop off midway. And finally, Tyrannical, the bosses and the mobs that they summon have more health and damage, so make sure you bring a talent build that can accommodate for that. But let's get into the main bulk of this episode, which is the Mists of Pandaria remix. Now, I know a lot of people have been looking at this and saying, oh, so they're not going to do Mists of Pandaria Classic. No, they will do Mists of Pandaria Classic. They will not do Mists of Pandaria Classic. This is a small-time event for those who want to experience it and not want to sort of do Cataclysm as well at the same time. But essentially, it's Mists of Pandaria with a fresh new look, essentially. So, what is Mists of Pandaria Remix? It's a limited-time event which allows players to re-experience the entirety of the Mists of Pandaria expansion at an accelerated rate through levels 10 to 70. All loot has been completely overhauled and has powerful new effects, allowing players to shape their experience, power up and power on. Features include accelerated leveling and content, allowing you to take on nearly every quest, scenario, dungeon and raid. Create a new WoW Remix character starting at level 10 to adventure through the event up to level 70. A mountain of loot, get powerful items from everywhere, quest chains, chests, creatures, bosses. Customizable items, allowing you to power up as far as you can go to take on tougher content. Convert unwanted items into bronze, which you can use to upgrade items to purchase cosmetics. And keep what you collect. Take your collections of transmogs with you into the war within. Now, this is the main part. Essentially, what this is you're going to be leveling through level 10s to 70s, and they are adding content in this remix that they hadn't previously added. So anything that is a different color mount, stuff like that, they've put into the game, different mogs, different colored mogs, all of that. And they put the legendary back pieces back in. You can do all the raids, dungeons. The only thing that I think they have confirmed is that stuff that was only limited due to Mists of Pandaria being there, such as the Challenger mode dungeons, them cosmetics, I don't think they're available, which is really sad because personally I would have loved to have had a Cloud Song glaive, even if it's a different colour scheme. But, you know, it is what it is. It's nothing to get too upset about. This it seems really good. It is available to everyone. No expansion purchase is needed, but you do need a WoW sub or game time to begin the adventure through Pandaria. This means that classic players can also participate in the Mists of Pandaria sort of remix. WoW trial accounts will also be able to experience this as well, without a gain sub, but up to level 20 as per usual. You will need game time or a subscription after level 20, otherwise you just can't level, which allows them to potentially have some fun with this as well, which is really, really good. So, accelerated leveling and content. With WoW Remix, Mists of Pandaria, there is no slowing you down, and you'll be able to take on nearly every quest, scenario, dungeon. The raid right out of the gate with accelerated leveling from levels 10 to 70. There is this chart below. So, Jade Forest is level 10 to 70, and you have 3 different scenarios. You have Greenstone Village, Brewing Storm, and Theramore's Fall. Oh my god, that's really sad. Oh my god, I forgot about that. I forgot that that was a scenario. Really sad. Dungeons, Temple of the Jade Serpent, Scarlet Halls, Scarlet Monastery, and Scholarments. All of them are revamps, and all of them are very good. Level 20 to 70. So when you get to level 20, you can probably do this extra. So Valley of the Four Wings and Karasang Wilds, as well as the 5.1 Landfall campaign, which is in Karasang Wilds. You have Unga Ingu, which is a scenario, Domination Point, Lion's Landing, The Little Patience, and Dagger in the Dark. Dagger in the Dark is the one that I remember. That's the Vol'jin one, where Garrosh tries to kill Vol'jin. I'm pretty sure that's that scenario. And you get Stormstout Brewery as a dungeon. At levels 25 to 70, it's Kunlai Summit, and you get Arena of Annihilation, Brew Moon Festival, and Crypt of the Forgotten Kings as scenarios. The Shadowpan Monastery is your dungeon, and you actually get a raid, Mogushan Vaults, which is really, really good. I can't believe you can enter that at as low as level 25. That's very interesting. Level 30 to 70, Townlong Steps, Assault on Zanves, Siege of Nizao Temple, and you get Heart of Fear? No, you get no raid during that level. At level 35 to 70, it's Dread Waste, and you get Heart of Fear. There's no scenarios, no dungeons, like that. Level 40 to 70 is Veil of Eternal Blossoms, Battle on the High Seas, Blood in the Snow, Dark Heart of Pandaria, Secrets of Ragefire. I like all of these scenarios. I don't know why they took the scenarios out of the game. Like, these were very cool little things. What scenarios are essentially, they are 3-player scenarios where you don't need any sort of group makeup is the best way that I'm going to describe this. So you don't need a tank, healer, and a DPS. You could be 3 DPS, you could be 3 healers, you could be 3 tanks, and they are something that can progress the storyline, and they are really good. They can either progress the storyline or just something very small like a side mission that, you know, it's the ending of that side mission, that kind of deal. They were really good, and I'm glad that they're in the remix because it allows people to actually see them. The one that I want to see is the Dagger in the Dark one again with Vol'jin. That one was actually really cool, and I remember quite a lot of it. It took place in between. Oh, what's the bit up north? Is it Valley? Yeah, Valley of the Four Winds and Jade Forest. There's like a small cave system that runs through the middle of it, and it kind of took place there. It's really good, and I'd recommend people try that one, I'm not going to lie. You get Mogushan Palace and the Gate of the Setting Sun as your dungeons, and you have Terrace of Endless Springs as your raid. And then level 45 to 70, you get Isle of Giants. You get Timeless Isle and Isle of Giants. Oh, that's cool. Level 50 to 70, Isle of Thunder, and you get Throne of Thunder. And then 60 to 70 is Siege of Orgrimmar, and then Heroic Raids at level 70. So you can progress the raids as you go through them to get the normal transmog variants of it. But you can also, at level 70, do the heroic version of the raids if people want a bit more of a challenge and stuff like that. Now, this looks really good. Mists of Handari is actually a very good expansion. I know I say that about a lot of the expansions, but a lot of them do have very redeeming features about them. People obviously remember the bad stuff about them because that's just how we are. That's what we do. Warlords of Draenor had no content, but the content it had was very good. Mists of Pandaria, people complain about pandas in World of Warcraft. We have like we have bulls, we have cows. We literally since day one have had giant cows running about as Tauren. Like, come on, like get over yourself. I think the monk class was very fun when it was introduced. I don't think it was good though. It just being pandas. I think it was just pandas that could be monks when it came out, but I'm not too sure about that. I think a lot of people just didn't. I don't know. It goes under the radar, Mists of Pandaria. I really do think so. But I don't hear a lot of bad things about it, but I don't hear a lot of good things. And I think Mists of Pandaria did a lot of good things. It tested out stuff like Half Hill, where you had your own farm and you had individual player, like NPC reputations rather than a whole reputation as a whole. That you focused on that. That's constant endgame stuff that you can like redo and like relearn, almost not relearn, but like figure out and like constantly do throughout the expansion, that kind of deal. With this remix, there is new loot, so you can have the opportunity to collect a variety of items from anywhere. So quests, chests, creatures, bosses, also all of that. New customizable items will be yours for the taking, and each item slot has their own unique identity with spell gem sockets. These sockets come with exciting turbocharged new effects similar to trinkets. Each time you loot new items, you'll have a chance for powerful new upgrades, allowing you to push the limits further and faster than ever before with uncapped progression. Uncapped. That's crazy. Now, you'll see the uncappedness, uncappable. You'll see how uncapped it is. So as you progress, you'll gradually become more and more stronger or more powerful as these items gain increased permanent stats. Here are some examples of the types of gems you might find. Life gems summon a storm, calling down 5 bolts of lightning every 1 second. Each bolt inflicts 26,000 nature damage to enemies within 30 yards. During the storm, 3 flowers grow around the caster. After 5 seconds, the flowers bloom, restoring 400k health and granting a 1.7k haste to allies. That's pretty decent. Transform into a thundering orb, inflicting nature damage to enemies within 30 yards for over 4 seconds. While you are a thundering orb, damage taken is reduced by 50%, movement speed is reduced by 70%, and you're immune to CC. Oblivion Sphere. Coalesce an orb of pure void that increases critical strike damage taken by enemies within 50 yards by 50% for 10 seconds. After 4 seconds, the orb explodes. All of these are really, really cool. Honestly, this one might be the most fun for those who are immobile, maybe like priests. Roll a short distance. That's how simple it is. Like, all of these are very good. A blink, you can get a blink one, you can get a sprint one. Like, all of these are so, so cool. But, yeah, a lot of people are obviously going to mid-max this. Yeah, I don't think this is anything you want to mid-max. Maybe if you're doing the heroic raiding and stuff, obviously you want the easiest time going into these raids. But I think this will be just fun to play around with and experience. But to give you an idea of uncapped. So, Cloak of Infinite Potential. Equip. So this is what it starts with. 147 armor. Equip grants the following aura. Time Runner's Advantage. The threads of time you find will be woven in this cloak, permanently increasing its power. So, your cloak grants you the following stats. 324 strength, 324 crit, 324 leech, 324 mastery, 324 versa, 1,620 stamina, and 324% XP gain. So you are leveling 300% faster than you already are, and they are making you level very fast during this event, which is really, really good. Now, this can be upgraded permanently, so I'm guessing you can add more to these stats. So you can go up to 400% XP, 500%, 600. If it's uncapped, no one knows what this can go up to, which is amazing. And this is account-wide, from what I'm remember. So, earn titles, a variety of transmog, previously unreleased color variants of older mounts, and more simply by completing WoW Remix, Mists of Pandaria specific achievements during the Remix event. These achievements will become a feat of strength when the event ends. Welcome to a new age. There's no such thing as a bad drop, and any drop you get can be converted into a new currency, bronze. You'll be able to use this currency to purchase upgrades and World of Warcraft account-bound item costs. Head to the bazaar in any zone to purchase everything from class transmogs to Mists of Pandaria mounts, toys, and more. This allows players to purchase items that were previously unable to obtain or difficult to obtain as random drops by simply spending this new currency to add to their account's collection. Players won't be able to use the auction house in the Mists of Pandaria remix. Now, this looks so much fun. This looks like a great sort of filler patch and something that you can do randomly whilst you are waiting for that like War Within pre-patch, or maybe you don't want to burn yourself out in Cataclysm Classic, or you just PvP isn't what it wants is usually. Maybe Mythic Raiding in retail isn't what it's all cracked up to be at the moment, and you wanted a quick change. It has so many potential things that you can do with this, and I see this being very good as a limited time event. Like, I don't know how limited, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month. Maybe a month or something is what I'm thinking. Month or two. But if it's a limited time event, you definitely feel like after the event, that's when the pre-patch is going to drop. And limited time events are very limited in WoW. You have obviously the events such as Midsummer Fire Festival, Hallows End, Brewfest. All of them last like a couple to a few weeks. So maybe it's going to be a few weeks after this releases that we get pre-patch, but who knows? Who actually knows? Plunderstorm is going to be a good example of how long this event will be, because if someone can take the date of when Plunderstorm was released, we'll be able to see just when the remix will be finished as well, because I would imagine it's the same sort of time scale as that. When Plunderstorm ends, the remix will come out. It's going to be something like that. But let's hop on to the other segment of the episode this week, and the forum page that we essentially were going over. So we'll carry on from where we were. Now, learning the ropes, essentially. I'm pretty sure this is where we were. Yeah. We were on... No, we weren't. We were the incentivization to play. Here we go. Because this was the... Oh my god, yeah. This was the real sort of essay that he wrote. So, there are 4 rated game modes, which makes them endgame, so to speak. 2v2, 3v3, rated solo shuffle, and rated battlegrounds. These 4 brackets share a majority of the achievements and rewards, and for the most part they are time-gated and frankly minimal. 2v2 has no specific rewards for performing exceptionally well, gating the progression curve after reaching 2400. RPGs are in the same situation, except for a specific permanent rank 1 title. Rated Solo Shuffle expands on the rank 1 title by also adding a light version of the Gladiator status, giving people a temporary legend title. And lastly, the true endgame of PvP is 3v3, which gives the players a permanent, specifically crafted mount for reaching Gladiator. This means that in any one season, there are 4 endgame rewards a player can be going for: a permanent title given to top 0.01% of the player base, a gladiator mount given to top 3v3 participants of the player base, a transmog set scattered across the entire CR scale. What he means by this is when you hit 1600, you get the boots and the wrists. When you hit 1800, you get the hands and the legs, that kind of thing. Up until 2100, when I think the last thing you get is a tabard and a weapon illusion, like an enchant. Outside of that, the only endgame reward that can be attained are vicious mounts. These are vicious gladiator mounts that can be either obtained during the season or retroactively bought with vicious saddles. Okay, yes, you are correct. Sorry, the vicious mounts are something completely different compared to the vicious gladiator mounts. these vicious mounts, if you play enough, you get these saddles, and these saddles are a currency. You turn these currencies into someone in Stormwind, and you can get a mount for it, whether it be the River Beast, the Night Saber, the Ram, the Horse, all of the Alliance sort of mounts, essentially, throughout the years of PvP. Personally, I have some 30 saddles sitting in my bank and nothing to do with them. I have the same, because I have all the mounts. This puts up but in front of a situation, though. There are FOMO endgame rewards. I don't know what FOMO is. And there are non-FOMO endgame rewards. I need to know what this is. So that's an inconsistency. People understand that FOMO used to be the way to showcase prestige in the game, but long ago are those days. An obvious example of this is the fact that we can obtain Plagued Proto-Drake from BMAH, which back in the day actually meant something. Since we've established that these terms are open to deFOMO identification, let's discuss the topic. What is FOMO? Hold up. Hold up. What is it? It's an abbreviation, isn't it? Abbreviation. Fear of missing out. Okay, there we go. That makes it a lot easier. So it means that essentially you have the fear of missing out if you do not get these mounts, these titles in that season, and you're very close. A lot of people don't like that, and it's kind of rough. Statistically, more about MMR later. Most players barely even obtain the entire transmog set, let alone the rest of the rewards. That means once they hit a wall, there is no incentive for them to proceed playing. This causes the learning process to stop. It also causes people to intentionally set up ults because they want to play the game but are not allowed to, because they are too afraid of losing rating or find it too hard to learn. This in turn artificially bloats the participation pool and creates false results. And it also causes unsteady progress for those who are pushing on their main characters because they will continuously face people that do not belong to their bracket. Okay, kind of makes sense, because people who are 1800, let's say, if you make an alt character, you might not be as good on that alt character, so it might be a 1600 alt character. Those who are on their mains at 1600 will attempt to be pushing, but get some false hope because, oh my god, we're beating all of these 1600s, but we're not going up. Why are we not going up? It's because that person's on an alt, and because, well, simply, you're going to get into people who are 1700 and lose to them because they are actually 1700 when you aren't, that kind of deal. As for the rewards, I do understand the fear of missing out, and I think that these rewards shouldn't be available to everyone. They should be specific ones, or you could give, which kind of is actually there, actually. No, I was going to say you can give a participation mount, but that is the vicious mount. Essentially, you want something that is lucrative for those who are good enough to get there, but the MMR system doesn't allow for players to try and get there. So the MMR system currently is they inject a little bit of MMR each week, and this should, what they would hope, is incentivize players to play each week. It doesn't, because everyone waits for the very end of the season when the inflation is at its highest to play, and that just makes for very bad gameplay, because if you're trying to push like during the season, you're just at an inherently disadvantaged position because, well, you don't have all of the MMR injection into that like season already, so it makes no sense at all to do so. I think that they should go to an Overwatch 1 system where you have 0 to 5,000 rating, and different brackets obviously mean different ratings. So 0 to 1,000 is your, combatant rating. 1.1k to 1.5 is your combatant 2. And then you go up from there. And when you get to about 4,000 rating, you have, your rank 1s, or 4,500 plus, you have rank 1. That kind of deal. You'd have to play with the numbers a bit, because obviously they have their own sort of ranking system. They're rival 2, rival 3, and you get certain rewards for hitting that certain thing. But I don't think it's out of the question to do that sort of thing. I think it's probably best. That way they don't have to inject MMR into the game constantly. And everyone's just waiting for that last week to push their whatever they're trying to do, whether it be rank 1 or 1600 push. Everyone just waits for that last week and has the most chance of getting that during the last week. So there's no point in doing it for that. It's absolutely ludicrous, to be honest. The solution to incentivize players would be relatively simple. Allocate allegorically to vicious saddles, implement tokens for no longer obtainable items that would, however, reflect the player's strafe. This means, for example, token for 25 wins above 1800/2100. That means you are eligible to buy one of the unobtainable elite transmog recolors from the past seasons. Tokens for 100 wins after obtaining a gladiator is in the given season to then buy one unobtainable gladiator mount, etc. Or alternatively, introduce a complete new recolor of the old set/gladiator mounts to retain the FOMO aspect, but still incentivize players to play anyway. I like this idea. I think that's a very good idea. I think you go with the recolor version, and that way you can still show off your gladiator mount that you got during that season. It's like, oh yeah, I managed to do it when it was like really, current content and stuff. So it's like really cool. But people who still enjoy the mount, so personally, the Legion like PvP glad mounts, I think they're sick. I think they're amazing. I like the green color. I think they're amazing. If they did a recolored version, like a yellow version, I would still want that mount. And it does give me incentive to play. Like when I hit Glad, like say I hit Glad like next season and I get the Glad mount. What else is there to play for? Okay, cool. I'll just AFK for the rest of the season. But if I keep playing, I can earn other Glad mounts. And, that's really cool. That's an actual incentive to play. Now, obviously, you'll run out of these glad mounts, but then it should just be a point of play for fun, which it would be, because you don't need to fear about risking your rating and stuff like that. I think this is a very good idea. And I don't see why it shouldn't be implemented into the game. A similar change can be implemented in PvE as well. In Reinvigorated Mage Tower has been a great success, I would agree. Why not offer recolors for old Warlords of Draenor challenge modes? Reintroduce ahead of the curve mounts, sort of recolors of them for a similar achievement. After all, cutting edge mounts are obtainable as a random drop after the expansion ends anyway. The team clearly has the assets and intentions to introduce recolors of old models. This is sky clear obvious from what the trading posts have been doing for the past month. You guys have a ton of assets lying in vain that can be used to boost the game's participation by recoloring them, giving them higher resolution design, etc. So why not use them? I completely agree. I think that the recolors are something that people can aspire to obtain. And it still has that, oh my god, you did this during your time, like during the expansion, but I think it's a great idea. I don't see why we wouldn't do this, in all honesty. But I will end it there. I'm sorry I didn't get through much of that post. The WoW remix kind of took up a lot of my time. I think it's all very good. I think there is a lot of good happening in WoW at the moment. We're in a purgatory state, I will agree. For about 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be in a purgatory state. After Season 4 or 3 ends, we'll be in that state. And then we've got a vomit of content. We have Cataclysm remix. We have the actual Cata launch. So you have pre-patch and then launch. And then you've got possibly the War Within Alpha within the next week, I would say. Just going off of the roadmap, I would say it's within the next week. Just putting it out there because Season 4 comes out next week, if I'm not mistaken. 23rd? Okay, so just a week and a half's time. It will come out. The War Within is meant to come out, like the War Within Alpha is meant to come out before Season 4. So we're going to get that so soon. I really hope they stick with that because it would be amazing to see some of the War Within alpha, see the hero talents and really dig our teeth into that and get used to seeing these hero talents and how they play out and numbers wise. Please, for the love of God, give us that alpha. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff coming with WoW. We just have to be patient for these next few weeks until Cataclysm drops, and then from then on, we're good to go for the year, essentially. It's going to be amazing. Thank you all very much for sticking with me with that. But thank you all very much for listening. As always, do check out the socials down below. Constant stuff is happening over there. Thank you all very much once again, and go at Valor, friend. Goodbye all.